Galega, and welcome to SAUMA podcast. We're connecting people, purpose, and passion through powerful conversations that matter. Right now, we are joined by Dr. Ilario, all the way from Maxhealth Company. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
I'm great as well. Can you kindly please tell us how was Maxhealth developed?
Well, it goes back about 20 years ago. I was just finishing, I completed my PhD just across the road here at Wits University. And then I went back to my home country, Italy, and I started working for a big pet food company there. They needed a business development manager with international experience and knowledge of languages and stuff like that. So I joined them, and I basically learned the trade. As a vet, you are familiar with pet food because you always recommend it and you always are in that field of nutrition. But the making of pet food is something that we don't know. This is a very technical side of the pet food business. And there in that factory, in that company, I learned how to manufacture the dog food. So I learned everything besides the nutritional side of the formulation they were using. I learned also the practical side, because to make dog food and pet food in general, you start from ingredients. You start from basic stuff like maize, and you're using the animal protein derivatives, and you have to put them all together, and you have to cook that stuff into a machine that is called an extruder. So basically you put all the raw material inside that machine. The machine just extrude the kibbles, and then you pack it, and so the cooking of all these ingredients, like when you make your own food at home, it's very important that you select high quality ingredients, because the quality of food, the taste of food, all depends on the quality of the ingredients. So if you have good quality ingredients, you can make good food, and this applies also to pet food. So after a year, I was already bored, and South Africa was still calling me because I had been in this country for a long, long time. So they decided, let's go to South Africa and open a pet food business there. And after a year, I came back, but not with them, because I resigned from the company.
Yes.
I came back on my own. I came back and started as a vet again in private practice. But in my mind, I had the idea of developing my own dog food. The problem is that you have when you come and you try to make dog food in South Africa, and you're used to making dog food or pet food in Europe, is the ingredients that you find there, you can't find them here. So what I had to do, I had to take all the knowledge, the formulations, and adapt that knowledge to what was available in South Africa. So that was the first step. The second step, of course, designing the formulation wasn't difficult. I asked for help from a very famous nutritionist, animal nutritionist, Dr. Christelle Coetzee. She helped me, because also they have availability of software that can design formulation softwares. All the formulation that you see on the market, they all design with software these days. You don't sit and write by hand. So there are so many ingredients that all the ingredients have their own composition, their own chemical structure. So we need to make a formulation that at the end give you the nutritional, satisfy the nutritional need. And on the other side, it's well balanced. Because when you don't really know the results once you start putting in ingredients into a pot, and then they cook together. Whatever comes out of there is very empirical. It's not that you can predict everything. So you have to start from basic. So what we did, we took the computer, we designed the formulation. I knew what I wanted, and then it's money. Money. People don't know how much it costs to develop, and to develop
your own formulations.
Yes, and then of course you have to consider that you have to package that thing, you have to test that thing, you you can't just say, okay, tomorrow I make a pet food, and after a week or after a month, or when I have it in my hands, I go out there and I start selling it.
Yes, true.
The process is much more complex than that. So fortunately, being a vet was a big advantage, because I could I could use it and test it and see what it was, if the dog were doing well with this formulation. Then, of course, because I had no money, I had to find a very small factory that was able to produce this formulation. I had about 4 formulations originally, and I said, we have to make batches of about minimum 250 kilo each. But when you go into a pet food plant, the people have no idea what is happening out there. This plant, they don't run on small batches.
Yes.
They run on
batches.
Big tons. A lot of kilogram has to be processed, go into this machine. These machines, they go to the extreme of producing something like 6 to 8 tons per hour. So here is someone that wants to do 250 kilos.
That's competition.
Yes, he's got basically no money in his pocket. He's driving his Fiat Uno Espresso. He's got basically nothing. So I was able to find someone, a good Samaritan, that helped me. I said, okay, I have a small plant. Bring me the formulation. I get the raw materials, and we start.
Yes.
So this was a small plant in Spring. Still there, still working. It's a family-run business, and this guy helped me. And we were able, on a Saturday morning, 20 years ago, to produce 4 original formulation of the Maxhealth dog food. So the difference between this food and all the food that were available on the market then, and still these days, is that we use basically fish instead of using chicken, using other animal derivatives. We're using I wanted to use fish because that's what I learned overseas, and that's what I saw working, and being what the dog needed mostly. It was a source of raw material that was unique, that was simple, it was highly digestible, and contains a lot of good stuff.
Yes.
Indeed, fish is actually the first biggest source of omega-3, omega-6, or mostly omega-3 that you can find on the discount shelf, and everybody these days take, humans included. So the fish naturally does have these oils, and they are very, very important, particularly when you deal with clinical cases that are based on excessive inflammations of the body. So basically, I was able to finish those 4 formulations. I had my little, they were packed into normal polyprop bags with no labels, no nothing, just like that. And I had to start testing, so I went to some veterinary practices. I went to some friends, and I took out that dog food and I gave it to their pets. And I saw the first thing you have to look for. Do these animals, do they like this food? Because you don't know. The smell and the taste is very subjective. And to my surprise, these animals really responded well from the beginning. They loved the food. They went for it. So I thought, okay, now we have a food that is palatable, that the dogs like. And this is the very, very first important step, because you can develop the most outstanding formulation. If this animal don't like it, don't want to go near it, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, yes. They show you immediately.
Exactly.
They just smell it, and then if they don't like something,
absolutely,
they literally remove themselves from it.
Yes. Definitely. So the first test was that. The second test, of course, is how they digest this food. And what do you check? You check the stools. I know that's a bit gross, but stools is really the first parameter you have, and the stools were great. I mean, small, very compact, and well formed. It's a classic thing that you have to always look at the stools.
Yes.
What is, when do you see the food is, I wouldn't say not right, but is not good. Yes. You see the volume of the stools. The volume of the stools, when they're big and they're mushy, means that a lot of food get swallowed, but not a lot of that food get utilized or digested.
Okay.
And this is a very important parameter. So the food with Maxhealth, the stool with Maxhealth were absolutely fine, perfect, small, well-formed, So that means that a lot of that food was digested. In fact, digestibility of this formulation that we did lab tests is over 90%. So whatever goes into that animal get digested, utilized. So it doesn't get just thrown out without having any benefit. So I had those formulations. They were working. I tested all 4 of them. So now what? Because now you have to start. Of course, you have to apply for registration to the department. I've got the registration as well. But now, how do you approach the market? Because I mean, that's every new product in the market doesn't really matter what you have. Is that the first question that any entrepreneur must ask himself or herself is there a need out there for these products? So you can have the most brilliant idea, and then you go out to the market and say, but
only to find out there is no need.
There is no need.
Yes.
So dog food, there's plenty of dog food out there. Was there a need for a new dog food like this? So then again, my veterinary background came to rescue me, and I knew the need before I started the project, and I knew that most of these dogs we see in private practice, and I wouldn't say not only dogs, in the humans
other
also,
pets as well,
other pets, but also humans suffer from exactly the same condition. So food is, we are what we eat.
True.
So the next step, so then how do I go out there? I know I have a food that works. I've tested also while I was doing practice work. I had some cases and I tested it, and it really did work. But then how do you take the big step to go on the market? You need to design packaging, you need to design branding, you need to have advertising and stuff like that, and that costs thousands and thousands of rand. So just designing a packaging and just get it produced. I mean, the same like getting dog food produced. You go into a factory and they want you to make 10,000 bags. 10,000 bags cost 500,000 rand. Easy. And I needed 9 because I had 3. And three formulations that I wanted to go on the market with, and I had 2 kilos, 6 kilos, and 15 kilos. So each one's got its own size and numbers. And what did I do? I mean, I can't print all these bags. I don't have the resources. So I came up with an idea of printing everything in one bag. So our bag has got 2 gussets on the side, and one gusset has got all the formulation and all the nutritional information for the puppy food, so the lifestyle. And the other one has got the same, but for the adult food. And then we put a label at the bottom of the bag, and we tell the people, in these bags we have regular bite, we have small bite, we have puppy food. So I could actually manage with one bag, and I still have that bag. We still go with the same approach. And I can see people out there appreciate that, because people don't want to be confused. People don't want to have many colors. They just want simple stuff. Doesn't matter what you write on the bag. They won't read it. So you have to write little information, put a nice branding name. Brand is important, because in one word you have to put everything in one word. So Maxhealth was perfectly suitable, and that was the next step. So I got pro bono. I was very lucky to get one of these top advertising company to design the Maxhealth logo and to design the packages. And I was able to do that, and eventually I got my own packages after many attempts. I was able to come with the packages you see now for Maxhealth. So that was the very beginning. And it was very humble. I can see. Now if I look back, I would never be able to start anything like that. All the people in this business have millions available. And you can't really start a business like this if you don't have financial backup. I did it because I was working in practice, so I used to load my little car with few bags of food, go into the practice, recommend it, sell it. So that was the beginning.
Of it.
Yeah.
I love that. Quite interesting how you have mentioned quite a lot of information there in terms of you being in Italy, starting your own, working there, and then coming back to South Africa again, and then deciding that you saw the need within the space that you're in, taking care of not the kids, the dogs as well. And it's really inspiring to know that you have also created your own formula. And you also mentioned that you have included fish. So with everything that you have included, what are the benefits for these pets? What is it that they're getting from your formulations, from your product Maxhealth?
Yes, I think that the biggest advantage we have and the biggest, trigger for the people to buy our food is because it's a different food. It's different on the point that it doesn't contain the classic animal that you find in 99% of animal derivatives that you find in 99% of the pet food on the market, which is basically chicken. So chicken is the most, utilized animal protein source, and we go to the extreme of, because you need a minimum quantity of protein of 18%, 22%, 24%, but the law allow you to have 18% protein. Protein derived from animals. Of course, you can get protein also from maize, from grains, but the protein that we need in this case are on animal protein. So chicken is being the most diffuse animal on the planet and bred to the billions. And of course, the byproducts are available. They're not very expensive. They're very nutritious. They, you can find them easily. And that's why Maxhealth came in and say, okay, stop chicken, eat fish. And animals do extremely well. The moment you change the diet, it's like us, the moment you change the diet and you put them on completely different, and fish are different to chicken. I know it's still protein, but the amino acids are different. The composition of the protein, of fish proteins, and they're also cleaner in a way that raising chicken these days is done in a very intensive way.
True.
They use a lot of antibiotics, growth promoters. I know, as a vet, you have to write prescription for medicine that goes into the feeds. So I know exactly what goes into the feed, and these chemicals remains in the final product. And although there is nothing that proven, because nobody wants to do that type of research, we know that the body responds to these chemicals or residues with something that's called inflammation. We are all inflamed. Human beings are inflamed to the now there are parameters you check in your blood and to see how much inflamed you are. So what do you do when you are inflamed? Where is this inflammation coming from? And how do you see that these dogs are inflamed? So they come in, but the first complaint is they itchy. They itchy, constantly itchy. They scratching.
The redness as well.
You look at the skin sometimes. The paradox is that they just itchy, but you don't see redness. Redness is when you have an advanced form of inflammation. In particular, they have redness on the armpit, and they develop also infection because of the continuous scratching. They develop something that is called hot spot, which is a pyoderma, is a bacterial infection of the skin, very common during the very hot months. Then you have a food that is simple. It's got basically no fat, because remember, fat is another important factor in inflammation. Overweight people are inflamed because of the fatty tissue actually responds and produces its own inflammatory mediators, and the body get basically inflamed. And they say they've seen now that this chronic, or call it metaflammation, is one of the very most important causes of cancer. And it's been recently found. So why do we develop so much cancer? Look at the body, and the body is inflamed. So why is the body inflamed? Because the body responds
to what you are eating.
Yes, it tells you eating something that I don't like. So then how does the body respond? It responds through increasing blood flow, increasing the white cells in the area. All these cells produce all these inflammatory substances, and you start to develop this itchiness. So Maxhealth resolve that, because it's different in a way, the way that, for example, doesn't contain fish, very low fat, very simple formulation. And I had a good friend used to say to me, whatever is in
What advice would you give to, people that own pets in terms of their health, and how to make sure that they are taking care of their health with everything that they are digesting?
if you get a puppy, because that's where you start from.
Yes.
Okay. You get a puppy, or if you adopt a dog, but I mean, we just start from the simple. You get your puppy at 2 months of age. First thing you do, you have to take it to the vet for a checkup. You have to do, of course, all the vaccination, and I recommend doing it. Vaccination, the vet will tell you exactly what to do. Then from the nutritional point of view, is a very important phase of the dog development is the puppy phase is like the children. If you make a fat child, you will have a fat adult. If you make a fat puppy, you will have a fat dog.
Yes.
I'm not discriminating because they're
Yes, I
fat
understand.
people. It's very important because the moment you get the puppy to be overweight, it's very difficult to make it come down because it's borderline
used to
cruelty.
it. Yes.
Okay, so it's very drastic if you have to make them. So we won't do it. Why would you want them to do it?
Yes.
So, and we get attached, the 75% of family now consider their dogs, their pets like family, like
Yes,
their own
definitely.
children. So you're dealing with that scenario. So first of all, choose the right food, and what you have to look, particularly on every food you buy, is the fat contents of that formulation.
Yes.
So you turn around the bag and you look at the analysis. The analysis will tell you the percentage of all the protein,
ingredients, yes.
ingredients, whatever, and they put you the percentage, they put their fat. Okay? So it ranges from 10, 12, sometimes 15%, which is a lot. So you have to select a puppy food that has below a 10% fat, and there aren't any out there. The only one that's there is our food. Our food has got about 6%, even for the puppies. So the risk of making a fat puppy is basically zero. So we give the animals what they need, but we don't overfeed them with fat, because that's what the big company do. They make them fat so that when they get late in life, they would need a dietetic food.
Yes.
So you're creating the environment for diseases, basically.
Yes, definitely.
So that's what you do. So the puppy comes in the first year of life. Of course, he has to go for vaccination. While you take it for vaccination, the vet will be able to check it up. Remember, they fully develop at about 6-7 months. The smaller breed, the teeth will be all out. The permanent teeth about 7-8 months. Bigger breed obviously take a bit longer to develop, so it's very important that you give them a food that is not too energetic, too rich,
Yes.
because they grow, otherwise they develop bone problem, because you feed them too fast and too much, and the bones, they grow in a specific area that mineralize as it grows, and if that area get too big, the amount of mineralization is slower, and they
Yes.
become weaker and can break. So this is where the pathology come from the wrong diet when you have a puppy. Okay, so that's what I would recommend. Check the food, take it to the vet, do the vaccination, and take it to training if you want, to puppy schools, just to become, more obedient.
Exactly.
And don't overfeed
Your
treats.
Yes, I like that. I just thought of a question right now. When is the right time to actually feed the puppy?
To feed. Okay,
Yes.
in terms from the mother
In
to...
terms, yes.
Oh,
When is the
weaning.
right time as well? And in terms of age,
Yeah.
is it like the first month, the second month, the third month, like in terms of feeding them?
The normal,
Yes.
yes. So usually puppy do eat mother milk for about a month, 6 weeks. But then towards the end of the 4th, 5th week, it depends if the mother's got milk, and sometimes you have to do it earlier. But
Yes.
you start introducing the normal commercial dog food, puppy formula, and you make it a bit mushy with a bit of, with a bit of water.
Yes.
And then you just start to adding it up. To put it down with water, so they
Yes.
start eating and maybe licking it a little bit, and then how you wean them from the mother. But I would say that the time is between 5 months, 6 months onwards, and then you start, and then they start feeding basically solid their own normal food. About 8 weeks, they will eat proper normal dog food, and you can make it a bit soft at the beginning. Then the teeth will be able to chew anything. Those guys,
Nice.
yes.
Interesting.
So that's the timeline, and then what the other question was about.
The other question is, are you still practicing as a vet? And also, what is it
Yeah.
that you have discovered within the duration of since you have been practicing?
Yeah, when I developed Maxhealth, the first 2 years I was still practicing because I didn't have enough income. After 2 years, I had enough, turnover from just selling my food. So I told my boss, I didn't have my own practice. I was working for someone. I said, I'm going to go off now, and I'm going to just spend all my time with my company. And that's what I did, and it went well. I mean, I never had any, financial issue. The food started selling. We delivering all over the country. We delivering to vets, to pet shops, and normal. It's not an exclusive food. You can find it online as well. A lot. We're selling a lot online these days. Then after when I stopped then practicing, I was still keeping myself up to date with reading, but it's not the same. And it took me a long time. Actually, a colleague of mine asked me, please, can you come and help me? That was 15 years later.
Yes.
A colleague of mine that I used to work for many, many years ago, around 2003, he asked me, I don't know, I can't find a locum. Please, can you come and help me for a couple of weekends because I can't. So, but I mean, I haven't practiced for so long. I said, I can't come back. It will be a disaster. I mean, this is not a simple job that you can overnight switch on and off.
Yes.
Particularly after. So I went back, and I was very rusty, very slow.
Yes.
It took me a while to get to get back
usual.
to that practice. But also sold my dog food.
Nice.
So it was an interesting test because now what happened to these dogs? Dogs that were itchy and scratchy, still plenty like 20 years before, 15 years before. So nothing has changed. The dogs still suffer from the same problem. I thought by now with all the new pet food, they understood the problem.
Yes.
They understood the problem, and I just stop feeding them chicken. But the industry don't care about that. Actually, the more problem there are, the better, because you can introduce all these new formulation that the sensitive skin and this and that. So which don't work, but doesn't matter. They give you the illusion of having an opportunity to feed something else to your dog
and make more money.
And make more money, obviously. But so there was still a beautiful place for my food, actually more than before, and I started using it more. And to my surprise, I had cases that I was just checking up after a week. They were already better just by changing the food. So I said, yes, this food still work, and there's still a need for it.
Yes.
Nothing has changed. Actually, if I can say something, it got worse. And now it got worse. Why? Because the pharmacological industry, the drugs were developed in the meantime. Specific drugs that target itchiness. So we have now available injections and tablets that actually deal only with itchiness, the itchy dog. Because people, they come and this dog is just itchy, and you can, people committed suicide themselves for itchiness, because it's such a terrible feeling.
True.
And you can't control it, and you can't keep giving this dog cortisone, because cortisone is actually kill every itchiness, but it's got so many side effects.
Yes.
So then the industry came about with this injection now. The injection that for a month it can actually stop the itch completely, but at the cost. I mean, an injection for a small dog of that cost as much as a bag of Maxhealth. So we're talking about hundreds of rands. And it doesn't solve the problem, because you have to go back. You're not really going to the bottom of the problem, because you're not addressing the food issue.
Yes.
You're giving them an injection, and everything stops. You see it now. Fine. Then after a month,
a while, it comes back.
Yeah,
again.
it comes back. So what I see, yes, there is more. We have more bullets available to deal with the problem, but you still have to handle the problem like you had nothing available. Okay.
Yes.
So that's what I found, and it took me a few days. And I got back. Now I'm full swing back in my private practice, much wiser than before, with a lot more to say to the people and to discuss. And I think it was great to go back to private practice, because also make me feel a bit more useful.
Yes.
And sometimes it doesn't take much to change situation that have been there for month and month and month.
Yes.
You just have to apply the principle. But this principle, even the new generation of vets, they don't know nothing about it, because they follow a lot what the industry tell them to do, what the university tell them to do. This is something that nobody wants to go and
they're no longer getting creative or innovation.
Yeah, so they just follow what protocol is given to them, and it's sad. So I still have something to say. I can still for example, my boss now is 30 years old, and I work for him, and the other guy sold the practice, but he kept me on.
Yes.
So I'm working for a much younger boss, much younger vet, and I can see the big difference that there is between someone of my age and the new generation of vet that come in. And it's a bit scary, in my opinion, because there's not a lot of good information that get and they're not their fault, because the books, there's no books, there's nothing that can tell you these things. But you could see the way I approach clinical cases of the itchy and scratchy dog, and just by changing the diet, you got the food there, and it's not more expensive than any other top brand. Just go for the simple things.
Yes.
Simple things always work in life.
Better.
Definitely, yes.
Yes, it's like small steps to make a big difference.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you so much. Any way that our beautiful listeners can contact you and get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can go on our website, www.maxhealth.co.za. Very simple. You can find all the information there. You can order online the food from there, but that's beyond the purpose of this interview. My number is behind. I mean, every bag of Maxhealth has got my details at the back. So I'm available for all my customers all the time. If they have any veterinary issues, or if they don't understand something about the food, about nutrition, I'm always available. And that's actually what made Maxhealth what it is today. So his customer satisfaction.
Yes.
We have to help people that have been. I mean, I treat dogs that are thousands of kilometers away from me. Treat in a way that I advise, do this, do that, and it works.
Yes.
Even from a distance. So I think through my food, I can reach many more pets than if I had my little private practice, which is limited. Through the food and through the information on the website and, my communication with customers and stuff like that. And of course, you have to trust who you go to when you have to make a decision about your pet.
Yes.
Even if there are so many bloggers and podcasters or influencers out there that will tell you do this, do that, and dog breeders and you name it. Yes. Ultimately, the vet is the person to go, because not only legally, but is the one that's been trained the most to deal with your pets. And yes, that's what I do. 2 or 3 days a week, mostly afternoons, and I work Saturday mornings. Yeah. Very difficult, very hard, but I have good stuff, support stuff, and all the stuff that remember, experience cannot be copied, and experience difficult to forget. Once you have it, you treasure that, and that's what you rely on when you have to make split-second decision, and you have to resolve problems that are not easy to, and sometimes you're lucky. Because luck also help. Yes. Sometimes, customers, clients listen to what you say. Yes. Because most of them, they don't. They just go and like they do for humans. The doctor has said that, but I can go and to this scam and buy this and that. Cannabis is very, very popular amongst pet owners these days, but I have to warn them about side effects most of the time. I said, no, you can give it, for example. That's just an example. But even for itchy dogs and dogs that have specific problems, yes, why not? So, but we're going, outside now the scope of this interview. Yes, so this is what I did and what I do at the moment. So I'm happy that I'm back in private practice and I can give my contribution, directly, from the ground up. Yeah.
I love that. That is all passion right there, and all the love of what you do. And of course, to the beautiful listeners, and that's a wrap at SAUMA podcast with Dr. Ilario, definitely, with Maxwell. And of course, make sure that you're staying tuned, and make sure as well that you follow us, subscribe, and like for more, as well as you can catch us on another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.